everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. Thanks, as always, for joining us. A real president answers questions. That's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, pop quiz. How many hour-plus long solo press conferences do you think Joe Biden has held in the past year? All right, if you answered 0, you were correct. Well, Trump's press conference today lasted nearly 70 minutes and started with some great news for America.
Today, I'm thrilled to announce that SoftBank will be investing $100 billion in America, creating 100,000 American jobs at a minimum. And he's doing this because he feels very optimistic about our country since the election. This historic investment is a monumental demonstration of confidence in America's future.
After 4 years of dealing with Biden, the bumbler-in-chief, a pro-business America is back. And the Japanese CEO laid out all the details.
This is double of last time, because I say, oh, President Trump is a double-down president. I'm going to have to double down, you know, $100 billion and 100,000 jobs. I am truly excited to make this happen.
Wait, I thought Trump was going to destroy global relations, offend our allies. In fact, it's the opposite, of course. But Trump spent the majority of the press conference fielding questions and seemed to be really enjoying himself.
Are you entertaining the idea of preemptive strikes against Iran's nuclear facilities?
Am I going to do preemptive strikes? Why would I say that? Can you imagine if I said yes or no? You'd say, that was strange that he answered that way. Am I going to do preemptive strikes on Iran? Is that a serious question? How could I answer a question like that?
100%, though. Who said Trump's not diplomatic? Because that was a pretty dumb question. And, of course, Trump's used to hearing that his deportation plan is impractical. Who's going to wait our tables? Who's going to, trim our lawns? But he knows that America holds all the cards vis-a-vis other countries.
In terms of your mass deportation plans, have you had any preliminary discussions with countries like Venezuela, from where the Trinidad gang is now popping up?
They'll take them back.
They're going to take them back?
They're all taking them back, yep. And if they don't, they'll be met very harshly economically.
Imagine that, a president who uses our economic power to help Americans and get other nations to help us too. Now, we're $36 trillion in debt, and the interest on the debt is about $1 trillion or so annually. That's more than our defense budget. So Trump knows we need to move fast.
We'll soon unleash American energy, and this will be done at levels not seen before, issuing quick approvals for pipelines, drilling, and other infrastructure. And I'll keep my promise to pass historic tax cuts for American families, workers, and businesses that create jobs in America. A lot of businesses are going to come in. Between that and our taxing and tariff policies, we're going to have business like nobody's ever seen in this country before.
Well, fixing our economy will not happen overnight, and it will require a massive effort to save money and cut waste.
Through the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk has been working very hard with various people, including Vivek. We're going to eliminate hundreds of billions of dollars of waste and fraud, and they're finding things that you wouldn't even believe. So we're looking to save maybe $2 trillion.
Well, that would be amazing. But to cut the pork, especially at the Pentagon, Trump's going to need to go to war. But actual wars, no. Today, again, we saw Trump the peacemaker.
There's a light shining over the world. We're trying to get the war stopped, that horrible war that's going on in Ukraine. Since the election, I've been working every day to put the world at ease a little bit, to get rid of the wars. We had no wars when I left office, and now it's the whole world is blowing up.
Well, it's certainly blowing up for the hundreds of thousands of federal bureaucrats who've been on their duff since COVID, working from home. Trump had a message for them as well, for the Zoom and phone-it-in crowd.
If people don't come back to work, come back into the office, they're going to be dismissed. And somebody in the Biden administration gave a 5-year waiver of that, so that for 5 years, people don't have to come back into the office. It was like a gift to a union, and we're going to obviously be in court to stop it.
And now, Trump also blew the whistle on the Biden administration's wasteful and petty border moves.
The other thing is, really terrible. We spent a tremendous amount of money on building the wall, and the administration is trying to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar, knowing that we're getting ready to put it up. That has nothing to do with a smooth transition. That has to do with people really trying to stop our nation. So I'm asking today Joe Biden to please stop selling the wall. We're going to use that to create a strong barrier.
Well, I actually said please. That was surprising to me. The president-elect was so at ease in front of the media that he looked like he could have gone on for another hour. What a refreshing change this is from how the current occupant of the White House carried himself, including on July 11th, which was his last formal press conference, which started this way.
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. He's going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky.
Aren't you going to miss that? And we got to the question part of the program. Well, things didn't improve much.
What concerns do you have about Vice President Harris's ability to beat Donald Trump if she were at the top of the ticket?
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president.
Remember, the press was complicit all along in the cover-up of Biden's decline. They knew how bad it was. So to scratch back some of their credibility, they'd have to admit they were wrong about all their false and dire predictions.
Trump just blatantly vowing to abuse power, to target American citizens as, quote, enemies, threaten the free press.
For a lot of the Post columnists, they believe Trump is a threat to the American free press and that he will impose draconian restrictions. And those fears are palpable in other newsrooms as well.
One freedom often taken for granted is under threat, and that is freedom of the press. Activist groups warn that Donald Trump's second term further endangers this essential right.
Oh, Christian, not having a front row seat in the briefing room isn't the same as losing your First Amendment rights. This is always nonsense. They have to be better than this. Trump has been the most transparent politician in modern history. He tells us what he thinks, and he does what he says. No one's perfect, but who's even come close? He's never afraid to take questions from an adversarial press. And today was just another reminder of the fun we're going to have over the next 4 years. And that's the angle.
The president was in the House for the Army-Navy game this weekend, and we're not talking about Biden. Our producers just found out Biden never attended an Army-Navy game as president. It's kind of weird, right? Maybe he was afraid of the boo birds. Anyway, 47 brought the whole crew. JD, Elon, Vivek, Tulsi, Cash, and Hegseth. Oh, and Pete brought his +1. Will Kane, his best friend. Pete hasn't even been confirmed yet. He's already recruiting. He had a push-up contest with Vivek's son.
Okay, here we go. Ready? Get down.
Buddy, get down.
Come on.
Get down.
Ready? Get down.
Do a push-up.
Right here. Ready?
Do a push-up, buddy.
Here we go.
Let's see you do a push-up.
There was a special guest at the game, Daniel Penny, a free man. Everybody in that shot knows what it's like to be wrongfully accused. Remember, Democrats said Vance had sex with a couch. Even Democrats wanted to watch the game with Trump, but the suite was locked. So Democrat Governor Wes Moore had to wait in the hall to shake 47's hand. Got his picture with the dictator, and now he's happy. And if they couldn't make it to the game, they just flew down to Mar-a-Lago. The CEO of the biggest venture capital firm in the world for tech, SoftBank, is making a big bet on America.
My confidence level to the economy of the United States has tremendously increased with his victory. So because of that, I'm now excited to commit this $100 billion and 100,000 jobs into the United States.
Not so fast, son. They call it the art of the deal.
I'm going to ask him right now, would you make it $200 million instead of He can actually, believe it or not, he can actually afford to do that. Would you do that?
I will try to make it happen.
That's good. All right, 200. He'll make it happen. 200 million investment.
He is a great negotiator.
Investors see SoftBank come in like this and they want to get in too. It's like when Pelosi buys a stock. You know it's going up. The CEO of TikTok also stopped by Mar-a-Lago today. And over the weekend, Apple CEO Tim Cook popped in for dinner.
How was your meeting with Apple CEO Tim Cook?
I did have dinner with Tim Cook. I had dinner with sort of almost all of them, and the rest are coming. And this is one of the big differences, I think, between, we were talking about it before, one of the big differences between the first term. In the first term, everybody was fighting me. In this term, everybody wants to be my friend. I don't know. My personality changed or something.
Mark Zuckerberg made the pilgrimage just a few weeks back, and sources say Trump had him stand up with his hand to his heart while the January 6th choir sung the national anthem. Remember, Facebook banned Trump after Jan 6th? And now Trump sneaks in the J6 choir, so Zuckerberg has to stand. Power move. Bezos is coming to dinner this week with his wife, Lauren Sanchez. And all of these CEOs are giving Trump $1 million each for his inaugural. The Winter White House has been getting flooded with calls from C-suite executives.
I've had the smartest people on Wall Street call me. They said, where'd you get that idea? And it doesn't seem that complicated, right? But it's it's like the paperclip. Nobody ever thought of it. One guy thought of it. Everybody looked at it. They said, wow, that was a good idea. Why didn't I think of it?
All the action takes place after dark. Trump's a well-known night owl and revs up when the sun goes down. He's announcing nominations, hosting dinners, making calls after midnight. Well, Biden's been asleep since 7. World leaders have been burning up the phones for weeks trying to get tickets for the inaugural balls.
Which other world leaders have you invited to the inauguration?
The world leaders are calling me, and some
Are they
really
coming?
would like to meet. No, I mean, literally, they're calling me, and I'll be seeing some of them. I think it's rude not to. I mean, it's hard to say I'm not going to see you. And I've spoken to way over 100 where they called to congratulate on not only the election, but the size of the election, the extent of the victory. And they were great. I mean, I spoke to over 100 countries. You wouldn't believe how many countries there are. And I'm trying the best I can to get back to everybody.
If you're one of the countries that hasn't called to congratulate Trump yet, don't think he doesn't notice. Trump slugging Diet Cokes, blasting Pavarotti, sitting around the table holding pitch meetings with CEOs and trade talks with prime ministers. He just spoke to Netanyahu and has a warning for the whole Middle East. Listen.
We had a very good talk. We discussed what is going to happen, and I'll be very available on January 20th, and we'll see. As you know, I gave warning that if these hostages aren't back home by that date, all hell's going to break out.
Trump's dangling carrots and sticks to friends and foes. Tariffs, airstrikes, investment deals, lawsuits, while the man technically still president is sabotaging them.
We ordered an additional 200 miles of wall. It's very expensive, and now it's about double the price of what it would have been 6 years ago. And the administration is trying to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar, knowing that we're getting ready to put it up. And what they're doing is really an act. It's almost a criminal act. They know we're going to use it, and if we don't have it, we're going to have to rebuild it, and it'll cost double what it cost years ago, and that's hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's really that has nothing to do with a smooth transition. That has to do with people really trying to stop our nation.
It's not just Joe Biden slowing things down. Republican senators still doing a lot of posturing over Trump's cabinet nominees. The president-elect says it's time to stop the shenanigans.
Senators who oppose your nominees, your cabinet nominees, should they be primary?
If they are unreasonable, I'll give you a different answer, an answer that you'll be shocked to hear. If they're unreasonable, if they're opposing somebody for political reasons or stupid reasons, I would say has nothing to do with me. I would say they probably would be primaried. But if they're reasonable, fair, and really disagree with something or somebody, I could see that happening.
Trump's sticking to his people. But he's telling his nominees they'll have less money and less headcount. So he says he expects them to do more with less. People close to him say he's following his instincts and isn't going to second-guess himself when Republican politicians beg him to be more cautious. The typical people are lobbying him to go easy on tariffs and are angling for their own little carve-outs. But Trump has a strategy, and insiders say he's sticking to his guns. Mitt Romney admits the days of the Republican establishment are over. Get on the train or get tied to the tracks.
Donald Trump won. He won overwhelmingly. He said what he was going to do, and that's what he's doing. You can't complain about someone who does what he said he was going to do. MAGA is the Republican Party, and Donald Trump is the Republican Party today.
Donald Trump's popularity is at a 7-year high. He knows it, and so does everyone else. This is the difference between a shocking victory in 2016 and a commanding victory in 2024. Still, some Democrats are boycotting the inauguration. One Hispanic congresswoman says she doesn't feel safe coming with all the Trump supporters pouring in from the ceremony. So they let millions of gangbangers into the country, but she doesn't feel safe when a few American citizens come to D.C. And this just in. New York Judge Juan Merchan is refusing to dismiss Trump's hush money conviction, even after the Supreme Court ruled on presidential immunity. Other Democrats are saying, just get over it. Trump outsmarted us, and the country's behind him.
Donald Trump is not an idiot. Donald Trump, let me just be very clear. Donald Trump is smarter than me, you, and all critics. You know how I know? This dude is a phenomenon. He is the most powerful human on earth and in our lifetime. And we're still saying, well, how was this guy? We look like idiots to ordinary people.
You're totally right.
Make America Great Again wasn't just a slogan. It was always the mission. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.